Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Gopija Vallabha Giridhari Jai Gopija Vallabha Giridhari Yashodanandam Prajajanaram Yashodanandam Prajajanaram Yamunatira Vamshari Yamunatira Jaya Radha Madhava Kundahari Jaya Radha Madhava Kundahari Jaya Radha Madhava Jai Mr. Bhagavad Paramahansa, Dravida Prabhu, the Divine Grace, Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Jai. ISKCON Bhagavati Acharya Shri Prabhupada Jai. Jai Om Shnupad Paramahansa, Dravida Acharya Shri Srimad Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnavini Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Krantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. And Samaveta Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, the translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatuttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering devotional service to the pure devotee, all that is inauspicious within the heart is destroyed almost to nil, and loving devotion to the Supreme Lord, who is glorified in transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On the second day of November 2018 in SanDiego, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We are in Canto 4 entitled The Creation of the Fourth Order. Chapter 7, The Sacrifice Performed by Daksha, text number 45. So again, we have an unusual meter here, although it's not a difficult meter. Brahmana uchuhu tvam katus tvam havis tvam hutasha swayam tvam vimantra samindha bapatrani cha tvam sadasyat viro dampati devata Agnihotram svadasom ajyam pashuh Brahmana uchuh Tvam katustvam habistvam hutasha swayam Tvam himantra samidarbhapatrani cha Tvam sadasyat vijo dampati devata Agnihotram svadaso ma'ajam pashuh Brahmana uchuh Tvam katustvam habistvam hutasha swayam Tvam himantra samidarbhapatrani cha Tvam sadasyat vijo dampati devata Agnihotram svadaso ma'ajam pashuh Brahmana uchuh Tvam katustvam havistvam hutasha swayam Tvam himantra samindarbhapatrani cha Tvam sadasyat vijo dampati devata Agnihotram svadaso ma'ajam pashuh Brahmana uchuh Tvam katustvam havistvam hutasha swayam Tvam himantra samindarbhapatrani cha Tvam sadasyat vijo dampati devata Agnihotram svadasom ma'ajam pashu. Okay. Give it a shot. Brahmana uchuhu Tvam katustvam habistvam hutasha swayam Tvam himantra samindarbhapatrani cha Tvam sadasyat vijo dampati devata Agnihotram svadasom ma'ajam pashu Brahmana uchuh Tvam katustvam havistvam hutasha swayam Vamnimantra samindarbhapatrani cha Tvam tudasyat vijo dampati devata Agnihotram svadasom ajam pashu Brahmana uchuhu I'm sorry, Brahmana, the Brahmins. Uchuhu said, Tvam, you. Kratuhu, sacrifice. Tvam, you. Havihi, offering of clarified butter. Tvam, you. Huta ashaha, fire. Swayam, personified. Tvam, you. He, for. Mantraha, the Vedic hymns. Samit Darbapatrani, the fuel, the kusha grass, and the sacrificial pots. Cha, and. Tvam, you. Sadasya, the members of the assembly. Ritvija, the priests. Dampati, the chief person of the sacrifice and his wife. Devata, demigods. Agnihotram, the sacred fire ceremony. Swadha, the offering to the forefathers. Somaha, the soma plant. Ajam, the clarified butter. Pashuhu, the sacrificial animal. Translation. So the Brahmins now come forth and offer their prayers to Lord Vishnu, who has appeared in the sacrificial arena. The Brahmin said, "Dear Lord, you are sacrifice personified. You are the offering of clarified butter. You are the fire. You are the chanting of Vedic hymns by which the sacrifice is conducted. You are the fuel. You are the flame. You are the kusha grass. And you are the sacrificial pots. You are the priests who perform the yajna. You are the demigods headed by Indra. And you are the sacrificial animal. Everything that is sacrificed is you or your energy." Purport. In this statement, Lord Vishnu's all-pervasiveness is partially explained. It is said in the Vishnu Puran that as a fire situated in one place emanates its heat and illumination everywhere, so whatever we see within the material or spiritual world is nothing but a manifestation of different energies emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Brahmin statement is that Lord Vishnu is everything: the fire, the offering, the clarified butter, the utensils, the place of sacrifice, and the kusha. He is everything. It is confirmed herein that the performance of Sankirtan Yajna in this age is as good as all other yajnas in all other ages. If one performs Sankirtan Yajna by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, there is no need to arrange elaborate paraphernalia for the prescribed sacrificial ceremonies recommended in the Vedas. In the chant of the holy names, Hare and Krishna, Hare means the energy of Krishna, and Krishna is the Vishnu Tattva. Combined together, they are everything. In this age, persons are harassed by the influence of Kali Yuga and cannot arrange for all the requisite paraphernalia for performing sacrifice as recommended in the Vedas. But if one simply chants Hare Krishna, it is to be understood that he is performing all kinds of yajna because there is nothing within our vision except Hare, the energy of Krishna, and Krishna. There is no difference between Krishna and his energies. Thus, since everything is a manifestation of his energy, it is to be understood that everything is Krishna. One simply has to accept everything in Krishna consciousness, and he is a liberated person. One should not misunderstand that because everything is Krishna, Krishna has no personal identity. Krishna is so full that in spite of keeping himself separate from everything by his energy, he is everything. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 9th chapter. He is spread throughout the creation as everything, but still he is not everything. The philosophy recommended by Lord Chaitanya is that he is simultaneously one and different. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto you, unto him, and to all members of Shri Parampara. So the Brahmins are speaking about something that they're very much concerned with, their specific point of view, which is performing all of these Vedic sacrifices. Now, there is a verse in the Bhagavad Gita that's very similar to this. Who can say? Aham katur, aham yagya, swadaham mahamaushadam. Krishna says in the 9th chapter, text 16, Svadaham mahamaushadam mantoham mahameva jammaham agniyaham udam. It's practically the same thing. But it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering. So the idea behind these kinds of verses, and this one in the Bhagavatam is there are even more details, is that whatever kind of performance we're trying to engage in, here the Brahmins are very concerned with yajna,
and the yogis are going to be concerned with meditation, and the Gyanis will be concerned with speculation and poring over the Vedas to separate matter from spirit. It all culminates in Krishna and Krishna consciousness. When you get the understanding, if you read the Bhagavad Gita in the 9th chapter, the most confidential knowledge is there at the end of the chapter. Simply think of me, become my devotee, offer your homage to me, worship me, and you'll be linked to me and you'll certainly come to me. That subsumes all of the other processes. So, as Prabhupada, he's quoting several verses in this purport, though he doesn't, he's citing them, though he doesn't quote them. Eka desha stitasya agnya, jyotsna vistarana yata, paraspa brahmana shaktis tatedam akilam jagat. This is a very nice verse that describes how, suppose there's one fire in the corner over there, or right in the middle here. We're performing a fire sacrifice. So, if he's really getting going and the ghee is pouring and the wood is burning, even over there you'll feel a little heat and you'll certainly see the light. It doesn't mention the smoke, but there'll also be smoke when he's opened the door. So all of these energies are emanating from the fire, but the fire is situated in one place. But it's having its influence in different parts. Prabhupada would, of course, give the example of the sun. The sun, all of this oil, all of these hydrocarbons that we're burning now for 100 years or so and that are warming up the planet, all of that energy is simply stored from the sun. The sun beat down, assuming for a minute that the scientists are right, and that's how the oil and the coal is formed, that plants take in the sun, they grow, photosynthesis, they produce their wood or whatever, and they eventually die, fall down, and they fall into the earth, and eventually it becomes coal or oil. And that's storing the energy of the sun. And then when you burn it, that's what's going on. So, and certainly the light, we're familiar every day with how the light of the sun is emanating from, as Prabhupada used the phrase sometimes, this figure, 93 million miles. But the light and the heat are so immediate to us and so important. So Krishna is the same way. Prabhupada says in one lecture, it's all Krishna shine. Just like the sun is sunshine, and Krishna is this whole manifestation. All these energies, the earth, the water, the fire, air, ether, mind, our own minds, it's all mind stuff, that's also material energy. It's simply, as Krishna says in the 7th chapter, this is my separated energies. So the whole point of that understanding, and Krishna makes the point there in the 7th chapter, okay, so when you see these energies, you interact with these energies, you see the light of the sun, you taste the water, you feel the heat, you smell the fragrance, remember me. This is all coming from me, this is mine. And this vision is a very important way to help remain in Krishna consciousness, to see everything in relation to God. And in fact, to see God everywhere. One of the, I think it's Narada Muni's instructions to Vyasadeva, is this famous line, I don't know the rest of the verse, but idam hi vishram bhagavan nivetaro. So the first part, idam hi vishram bhagavan. This universe is Bhagavan in an important way, right? Separate, but one and different. Beta, beta. But still, we should see Lord. But it seems to be different. Iva itaro. Right? People, and it's not that you can worship anything and think you're worshiping Krishna. Prabhupada makes that point. That yes, everything is Krishna in the sense that it's Krishna's energies, and we should think of him when we see everything and interact with this world. But it's not that you can worship anything in this world and you're worshiping God. That's this pantheism idea, which is definitely rejected. No, we worship Krishna as he is in his original form. Shama Sundar, Radha, and Radharani has his energies. That point is made here. And in that way, we can actually develop our personal relationship with Krishna. Otherwise, if you worship things in this world, then your relationship with Krishna is being manifest in an indirect way. And so that's where you get the idea, every yayatama papadyante, tam tadaiva bhajamyaham. Mama vatmana vadade manushak sarvasha. That everyone is approaching me in some way, and I'm reciprocating exactly appropriately. So the total atheist whose mind is not at all turned to God, they completely reject it. They have to worship something, they're worshiping matter. They're completely absorbed in matter, manipulating matter, building all of these incredible technological things. And they're receiving the result, which is suffering. If you're trying to develop your relationship with matter, when really as souls, we are persons and we're meant to be related to the Supreme Person, then you're out of your proper position, and it just produces suffering again and again. And you notice how everything, they try to personalize everything, you know. You buy a car, well, they have these guys that paid thousands and thousands of dollars to design the car in such a way that you feel an organic relation with the car. That's all the styling, you know. Someone wants to be a powerful, you know, animal, you know, and it looks like a cougar or looks like a lion or something, you know. You know, they design these cars like it. And the way the car interacts with you. And now the GPS, the lady is speaking to you. Tell you go here, go there, go there, you know. But these so-called relationships are very, very unsatisfying. There's nothing there. There's one verse in the 11th canto I've been memorizing. It just seemed somehow, sometimes you find these verses that just like really contain so much information, so much instruction. Krishna speaking in the 28th chapter. I think it's Jnana Yoga, and he says, let's see if I can remember this. It says, Chaya pratyavayabhasa asanto pyatakadinaha evam dehadiho bhava yachant amrityuto bhayam. So he says things like chaya, shadows, or echoes, or abhasa. Abhasa means like mirages, things that look like something but they're really not, you know. Although they have no real reality in terms, it says asanto means not real ultimately, but they have an effect on your consciousness as if they were real. Just like all of this, you know, video and TV and all of these images. What's the attraction? Because it's a simulation of real life. And you can enter into it, you forget your whole life, it's like a dream. And you enter and you feel the emotions and the adventures and sometimes the fright, you know, and this and that. And that's exciting for the soul. And it's all, and then eventually it ends, and it's like cotton candy. You know, it doesn't have any substance. It's unsatisfying. But because it has a semblance of reality, it has that effect on you. Now, what Krishna is saying is, dehadio, this very body is just like this reflection or a simulation of our real form, and it has all of these emotions and everything, relations with, you know, family, oh, my family, this and that. My father died, this and that. You know, I love you, you know. But eventually it goes, evaporates, and it doesn't have any significance. It's just like a long movie, you know. You get up and you go away, and it's just like it's a simulation. It's a shadow. But because we keep identifying with this external reality, we're living life after life on this false platform. That's what real Maya is. It just seems so revelatory to me. So here now Vishnu has actually appeared, and all of the different exalted souls are offering their prayers and glorification from their own point of view. So these Brahmins, they're very absorbed in all this yajna. You know, this is their thing, right? Preparing the yajnas and performing the yajnas, getting the results of the yajnas. And this. So now they're speaking from realization that actually it's all you, you know. Our very efforts of performing, the fire we're lighting, the priests, the ghee, it's all you. So that the next verse in the Gita, or shortly thereafter, we said, what is it? Yeah, it goes on in the Gita. But the idea is Brahmapanam Brahmahavo Brahmagno Brahmanahotam Brahmaivate Nakantam Brahma Karma Samadhina. That all of this offering and everything is ultimately Brahman, and the idea is that it's meant to take you to Brahman. They're made to the Supreme Brahman. So Prabhupada makes this key point here, and usually whenever Jagya comes up, he comes to the point of Sankirtan Jagya. As for us, right? So everything is the Brahman statement is that Vishnu is everything. And it is confirmed herein. Now, how he gets to this, I'm not quite sure, but it is confirmed herein that the performance of Sankirtan Jagya in this age is as good as all other Jagyas in all other ages. So that verse, we were just, I think we colored Doshana de Raj in the one after that. Krite yadhyayato visham, tretayam jajato makai. Right, that's sacrifice. Dwaparam padichayam kalotad harikirtanat. Whatever in other ages you can achieve through meditation in Krita or Satya Yuga, through great sacrifices in Treta Yuga, through elaborate deity worship in Dwapara Yuga, you can achieve in this age through Sankirtan Jagya. So we're not missing out. In other words, if we surrender ourselves and fully absorb ourselves in Sankirtan Jagya, in the chanting of the holy name, both in Kirtan and Japa, but basically realize that there's nothing missing. It's a complete process, and it'll take us to the highest realization. There's no need to arrange elaborate paraphernalia for the prescribed sacrificial ceremonies. And then Prabhupada analyzes the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare is the energy of Krishna. So that takes in everything, both material and spiritual energies. Hare means energy of Krishna, and Krishna is the Vishnu Tattva. So that's really all there is. I mean, ultimately, it's Krishna and his energies. We're part of the energies. Now, some of those energies, such as us, are personal, completely personal. We're complete persons. Some of them are impersonal, like birth, water, fire, air, ether. But ultimately, our goal, I'm sorry? Personified. They do, like Bhumi and Vayu. They have gods in charge of the energies. But Krishna says everything in existence is a combination of these two energies: the personal, spiritual energy, and the impersonal energy. So, but ultimately, you can say because they're all related to the Supreme Person, there's a personality there. But we experience them as impersonal. We experience them that way in our conditioned state. So the whole idea is to personalize everything. That's what the whole idea behind the Vishwarup is. Here's these mountains here, but don't just see them as mountains. You see them all as the bones of the Vishwarup. In other words, you see the whole world, the whole creation, as part of Krishna's body. And just as if you relate to someone else's physical body here, well, you're dealing with a person here. I'm not just dealing with a hand and a foot. I remember how I felt that depersonalization when I was in the hospital in 75, just after I moved to LA. I was in the Henry Street Temple, and it was notorious for having staph infection. I passed 2 years without getting it, but then just when it came time to move to LA, I get this serious staph infection in my finger. I still have a scar here. And it's swelling and swelling and swelling, but I had to get on the plane that day, and I couldn't do anything. So I got on the plane to LA and get there, and still, I didn't know what to do. So it's pain, and I'm chanting. Jayatirtha saw the swelling. I said, "What is that?" He said, "That looks serious." He took me to the hospital. And they lanced it, very painful, and drained it, and then they admitted me. They admitted me to the hospital with this, this little infection here. There was something special about it, I guess. So then, I was recuperating. I stayed a week there in the hospital. And the doctors would come around, and they really wouldn't would look at me. I don't know if they even mentioned my name, but they would look at my finger. The interesting thing about my disease here. Finally, they let me go, and they charged me this big bill. I said, "I don't have any money, I was completely, totally poor at that time. So, this is a disease of materially oriented society, is that they tend to reify everything. Reify means to make into a thing. Just like you have human resources. These big, huge companies, they have human resources, and we have fuel resources. We didn't run our trucks around everywhere. And the human beings, they try to pay them as little as possible, because there's plenty of other people lining up to take the jobs, That's what happens when you have a demonic society that is ruled by those who are simply into power and money, basically, is that everything becomes a means to feed that. And it's a kind of madness, even though according to the scientists, and we have no reason, they all agree, this whole world is becoming unlivable from this global warming. The insects are dying off en masse, and other animals, The guy, this crazy fascist just won in Brazil, and he promises to completely mine the Amazon forest. In other words, cut down all the trees. Hello, that's where the oxygen is coming from. But one-pointed, maximize. This is the demoniac mentality. So that depersonalization is completely reversed in bhakti. Everything is personal. Everything. We see a little plant. He says, "Oh, poor plant is in that body that's living in it. Chant Hare Krishna." Don't just cut down something without any care. Some animals, some insects, even you feel. What to speak of human beings? So it's exactly reversed, because in the spiritual world everything is personal. Really, completely conscious. Here things are covered, not that, but we ourselves are spiritual beings. So we should live with that consciousness as far as possible, and that is, being aware of our environment and what's the most Krishna conscious thing I can do at this moment. Okay, I have this duty to perform. I should do it as nicely as possible, But I should see this. It's a classic. Some person comes, like our friend Alex came to chant. And naturally, it's a 2-hour yajna. And, he ended up leaning against the wall chanting, So I went over to him and I explained, no, we don't lean against the wall. It's a manifestation of Balaram. Here, take this, like that. So seeing our environment through the eyes of the Shastra in this way, and seeing everything is Krishna's gift. Now this is spiritual energy. This material energy becomes spiritualized because it's directly being used in the service of Krishna. So that's what we as intelligent devotees can do. We try to engage as much of Krishna's energy in Krishna's service. And the best way, of course, is actually preaching, to bring another living entity, another human being, to the feet of Krishna as far as possible is the best way. Because you can see how it's exponential. That person can then become, a regular devotee, and in turn bring others and expand the whole thing. That's how the movement exploded, the Hare Krishna explosion, because of Prabhupada's influence. He was able to inspire so many people to take up the chanting and then help others, and like that, you can see it spreading. So that's the whole idea. Don't misunderstand, because Krishna is everything. Krishna has no personal identity. Goloka eva nivasatya kilatma bhuto. Achincha beda beda tattva. That's the thing. It's simultaneously one and different. And he says it's confirmed in the 9th chapter, and I thought that was from the beginning of the chapter, where Krishna says, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina matstani sarvabhutin chamte shavastadaha. That I am everywhere, expanded, this whole universe expanded by my material energy. But, Mr. Matstani Bhutani, he says, I'm there, but I'm not there. This is the Achincha. I'm in Goloka, and so in that sense I'm not there, but I am there and pervading through my external energies and through my Vishnu expansion as Paramatma. So that's how we should try to see everything. And this philosophy is recommended by Lord Chaitanya, that he, the Lord, is simultaneously one and different. Chincha beta beta. So, any questions or comments? I'm going to read a little bit from the Gopal Champu. Yes, Balaram, please.
You were talking about the shadow.
Yeah.
And it's a long movie and all that. So you said you're reading a verse that from reading that verse it was helping you think of all these things.
Yeah, to understand really what's going on. I mean that somehow or other that verse struck me as very cogent.
What verse was that?
I can give you the reference right here. I got it right here. I put it as a bookmark. 11:28:5. Yeah. Okay, we ready for a little Gopal Champa? I think we can finish the Jiva Goswami's version of the Damodar Leela here. And I'm just going to let you know it's really sweet here. Super sweet. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then the whole thing that Krishna's been bound to the mortar, and I think he's pulled down the 2 Arjun trees. Anyway, the point is that Snigdha-kanta, there's 2 reciters, Snigdha-kanta and Madhu-kanta. Kanta is the throat, one is very smooth, one is very sweet voice. So then what did Vraja's king Nanda do? Madhu-kanta said, Madhu-kanta said in his heart, Vraja's king thought, let me see, I got this. Okay. What Krishna said is very proper and logical. Then striking his forehead and shedding tears, Nanda said to Krishna, how will I explain it to your mother? Shri Krishna said, I will write a letter to her, a letter where I begin by offering respectful... Oh, no, I'm sorry, this is a different thing. We're in a different place. Okay. All right, so we're just at the point where he's being bound up. So Krishna is seeing Mother Yashoda's fatigue. Remember? When I first read this pastime in Krishna book, I noticed that the different stages in the pastime are cued by the falling of flour from Mother Yashoda's hair. She's churning. In a beautiful description at the beginning of the chapter of how the bangles are moving and everything. And then it's described how the flowers are falling, and then Krishna grabs the churning rod. If you look in the synonyms, sometimes you got to look in the synonyms. Creating a situation of love, this is described. And then it goes on. And then the whole thing happens, she fixes the milk and he gets angry, breaks the pot and runs, and then finally she's chasing him. And she's chasing, and she can't catch him, and then the flower is falling from her hair and she catches him. And then she wants to tie him up. She gets all the ropes, and here it says ribbons first and then ropes. And she can't tie him. And finally she's getting very fatigued, and she's smiling, her friends are smiling, and the flowers are falling from her hair. And as soon as the flowers fall from her hair, Krishna feels compassion, and he gives Yogamaya the command. Obeying the command, small Krishna gave in his heart, Goddess Yogamaya, who facilitates Krishna's pastimes, bound little Krishna and bewildered Mother Yashoda. When Krishna was bound, Mother Yashoda took the other ropes and bound him to the grinding mortar. So she's binding his hands and then binding him to the grinding mortar. After tying him up, Mother Yashoda sternly rebuked small Krishna. We'll call him little Krishna. Then she engaged some other boys to stay there and guard Krishna. Then, accompanied by the ladies that happily spoke many joking words, Mother Yashoda departed. After the ladies had all departed, little Krishna cried for a moment, and then, suddenly cheerful again, he pulled the grinding mortar here and there for great distances. Tied to the mortar, he was surrounded by other boys. Still restless and mischievous, he joked and played with them. Slowly, he pulled the mortar. With many jokes, he made the boys loudly laugh. Arriving at the uninhabited storerooms in the palaces of the ladies that had donated their ribbons and ropes to bind him, little Krishna ate butter from the pots that hung from the ropes there. This is definitely an expanded version of the pastime. Enjoying very blissful pastimes in this way, little Krishna didn't try with his own hands to untie his ropes, nor did he try to convince anyone else to untie him. A little before the palace door, 2 Arjun trees that seemed to dance in the breeze suddenly entered the pathway of little Krishna's eyes. Krishna approached the trees. Calling out with an open throat, Snigdha-kanta then exclaimed, "This pastime, which leads to the breaking of the 2 Arjun trees, has the revelation of Krishna's glories and opulences as its only purpose. Only a person who would trick and mislead others will say this pastime has a purpose different from that." Yearning to pass between those 2 trees, little Krishna approached them. After he had passed them, the grinding mortar he dragged behind him became caught between the 2 trees. Desiring to break the two trees, little Krishna forcefully tugged the grinding mortar. Crashing to the ground in two directions, the two trees made a thundering sound of kata, kata. Bewildered by that deafening sound, the people of Braja could not remain peaceful at heart. Krishna thus broke the two Arjun trees that were powerful like thunderbolts, but he did not break what had been placed on him by his mother's love. In other words, he's still tied to the ropes. With many prayers, I glorify the childhood glories of Krishna, who was fondled, protected, and dearly loved by the elder gopis of Braj. Krishna's childhood glory glistened with the splendor of his dark limbs, was filled with the sweet jangling of his ornaments, and was glorious with his delightful pastimes of crawling on the ground, his pastimes of dragging and grinding the grinding mortar that made trembling sounds of kata kata as he pulled it, and his pastimes of suddenly turning to look when the two Arjun trees crashed with the thundering sounds of kata kata. So this looks like a huge verse, or maybe a couple of verses, just kind of meditating on the pastime. And then what happened? For half a moment, the people of Braja were knocked unconscious by the thundering sound of the trees breaking and falling. Only the nearby children didn't fall unconscious, although they stood still like the figures in a painted picture. Because they were overwhelmed by the great sweetness of Krishna's pastimes, these little children were not afraid. From far away, hearing the fearful thundering sound, the leaders of Braj speculated about its origin. Fearfully they said, "Without a great wind, without a great rain, without a thunderbolt, and without being pushed by an elephant, why did these two trees fall?" Among themselves they asked, why is suddenly no one present in Braj? The answer was given, because of that great thundering sound the people of Braja have fallen unconscious. Seeing the cowherd boy Krishna, his face glorious with a playful and effulgent smile, and showering a great monsoon of the bliss of transcendental pastimes as he dragged the grinding mortar and stayed near the two fallen trees, the people surrounded him and asked, "What happened? What happened?" To his suddenly arrived father, child Krishna loudly called out. Agitated at heart, Nanda smiled, consoled his son, and at once freed his son from the ropes that bound him. So now, gazing at his weeping son and kissing his face, Nanda again and again asked, "Son, what wicked person tied you to this grinding mortar?" With a choked voice, little Krishna whispered in King Nanda's ear, "Father, it was mother who did it." Thinking of how Yashoda had acted in a very foolish and unreasonable way, Nanda felt disgust. He burned with pain. He didn't speak of it to anyone, even in private. Filled with disgust at Yashoda's foolishness, he asked no questions. Then he asked the little boys, "What happened?" The small boy said, "Krishna was going ahead in order to play. The mortar he was dragging got caught at a crooked angle between the two trees. Krishna tugged at the mortar, and then the two trees broke and fell to the ground with a thunderous sound of cut, cut. Then from the two broken trees came two effulgent men adorned with golden bracelets, crowns, earrings, ornaments. They bowed down before Krishna, and in this way they satisfied him. Then they ascended to the sky." Hearing these words, the adults, filled with affection for the children, said among themselves, "This is the nonsense talk of small children." However, some adults were not so certain these words were all nonsense. Their hearts were filled with doubt. Walking 1, 2, or more steps, the people of Braja gathered around Raja's king Nanda, who sat with his son as a glorious ornament adorning his lap. Nanda then performed his regular duties, went to the Yamuna, bathed there, arranged that Brahmins give blessings to his son, gave great charity to these Brahmins, returned home, and accepted his meal. Filled with embarrassment and sorrow, Nanda's wife Yashoda did not go out of the house. Neither did she talk to any of the ladies who came there. After all the lady guests had departed, Rohini took charge of the kitchen and arranged that the maidservants serve the meal. Taking with him his stepson Balaram and his own son Krishna, and anointed with the tumult of sounds of delight, King Nanda enjoyed his meal. Accompanied by the two boys, who were both spiritual bliss personified, King Nanda rested for a moment on his bed. His heart filled with bliss, when the cows returned, he went to the barn and arranged that the cows be milked and the other duties performed. In place of their mother's milk, King Nanda gave the two boys hot, sugared, white cow's milk from the house. Writing on leaves, King Nanda gave a school lesson to the two boys, accompanied to get homeschooling. Accompanied by the two boys, King Nanda returned to the palace and enjoyed his evening meal. Then Rohini and the other intelligent ladies like ruby treasures of their families, approached King Nanda and respectfully said to him, "O King, Krishna's mother hasn't eaten anything, neither has she spoken to anyone. As she now acts, all the other ladies now act also." With a sad smile, Braja's King Nanda then said, "What have we done? After we became angry, she could see she was at fault." All the ladies then tearfully said, "Alas, both within and without, she is very soft and delicate. The heated words you spoke will make her wither away." Smiling, Braja's King Nanda asked his son, "Dear one, will you go now to your mother?" Krishna replied, "No, but I will go to you." The wives of King Nanda's elder brothers then asked little Krishna, "At whose breast will you drink?" Krishna replied, "I will drink warm cow's milk mixed with sugar." All the ladies then asked, "With whom will you play?" Krishna replied, "I will play with father. I will stay in my brother's company." Braja's King Nanda then said, "Why will you not go to your brother's mother?" With tears of anger, Krishna replied, "She abandoned me and went away." Hearing these words, weeping Rohini softly said, "Son, why are you so hard and cruel? You bring to your mother great suffering." Then Krishna, as if not hearing these words, gazed, tears in his eyes, at his father's face. With a gesture, Rohini signaled Balaram to bring Krishna to her. Balaram took Krishna by the hand. Freeing himself from Balaram's hand, Krishna at once sat on his father's lap. With both his arms, he encircled his father's neck. He showered a great rain of tears. Seeing his father gaze on him, Krishna was overcome with affection. Seeing that in his heart Krishna still loved his mother, King Nanda, to bring that love into open view, suddenly raised his hand and said, "Son, if you give the word, I will ferociously beat your mother." Unable to tolerate that, Krishna suddenly grabbed his father's hand to stop him. Again smiling and thinking of how Mother Yashoda has a kind and affectionate heart, Nanda said, "If something were to happen to your mother, what will you do then?" Using these words to hint at Mother Yashoda's death, Nanda spoke lightly of Krishna's anger. Tear-filled Krishna, manifesting the nature of a small boy, thirsted to be with his mother. Suddenly he announced, "Where is my mother? I must go to her." Shyly he approached Rohini and sat on her lap. Then, as everyone there softly chuckled, delighted Rohini took Krishna into the house. There Krishna embraced his mother's neck. As a cow touches her calf, Yashoda touched her son's head and chin. As a cow makes a soft sound, so did she. Her heart melting with the mother's love, she wept and made everyone else weep also. Made peaceful by the other ladies' words of reassurance, beautiful-faced Yashoda pleased her handsome-faced son with the milk of her breast. Balaram at his side, and surrounded by the well-wishing ladies, little Krishna drank the milk of Yashoda's breast. Remaining secluded, Yashoda had not seen King Nanda for 3 days. On the next day, on his father's command, the Gopa Krishna grasped the edge of his mother's garment and led her to King Nanda. From that day on, the ladies of Braja jokingly called Krishna by the name Damodar, he whose waist was bound by a rope. They affirmed, "Little Krishna enchants every heart." Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And that ends our Gopal Champa version of Damodar Leela. Sweet, huh? I'm telling you.